Hey, what's up, guys? Tony Butler again. Today, I'm going to talk about something near and dear to my heart: productivity. You set big goals for 2021, and believe it or not, the first month is almost over. If you ask 10 people how was their month, their week, their day, I'll bet you they're going to say busy. I was super busy. But guess what? Being busy is not being productive, and that's what we're going to talk about. What productivity in your business really is and what it's not. But before I get into it, please click like on this video, and if you haven't done so already, follow the channel. Marketing for Humans is here to help you grow your business so you can help and serve as many people as possible. So follow it, ask your questions in the comments, I'll answer. Okay, so when I first started working in New York City years ago, I was really glad to have a job. The gig at my last company had started to blow up, and I couldn't find anything near where I lived in upstate Connecticut. And it was a bit of a tough time. Well, so one thing led to another, and the next thing I know, I found a job in Midtown Manhattan with a tech startup. Really exciting job and an exciting company, but it was far from my house. On a good day, if the traffic, the train, and the subway all lined up just perfect, I could make it door to door in about 2.5 hours. But on most days it was about 3 hours, and sometimes it was more than that. So obviously I wasn't able to commute every day. And what I ended up doing is I would get up at 3:30 on Monday. I would drive to the train station. I'd park my car, take the train to Grand Central. Once I got to Grand Central, I'd switch subways, switch to the subway, take that, switch to another train, and then I had another 5-minute walk after I got off. And then on Friday, I would just, reverse commute that whole process, but I would leave kind of early afternoon and get home early evening. And I made that commute for years, and I really miss my family. In some ways, I regret working, so far from home for a long time. But the regret's not what I want to talk about. What I really want to talk about is what I did on the commute and some of the things I did to keep productive while I was in the city, and how I did my best to, not get caught up in the noise. You would think that getting up at 3:45, I'd be really tired all the time, and, I'd just sleep on the train. Especially on those really early mornings, you get on the train and 99% of the people there are already asleep. But I didn't let myself sleep. Occasionally, if I felt exhausted, I might catch a quick snooze or something, but that was rare. Most of the time, I used that commute, time when I was driving and then the time on the train, to work and to study. The thing is, I was really ambitious. I was driven. When I first got to Manhattan, I didn't even know how to ride the subway. But I knew I had to figure it out because my family was dependent on me to earn. We were a single income family. My wife was staying home. We were taking care of 2 boys. It was my responsibility to earn something. If I didn't make things work out, things at home were going to be really tough. So I kind of thought of it like a deployment in the Army. And I would just work until working was done. And I focused everything, all my time and all my energy on winning. And by putting everything into it. And when I first got there, I didn't even have a place to stay. The company, they had an apartment where, a couple of other people lived there most of the time. And they let me crash for a few weeks. After a while, I found like this little tiny kind of gypsy apartment all the way out in Queens. And a lot of times I just slept in the office. And I would get to work as early as I possibly could. I would get up super early. I'd work out, maybe eat a little bit, get to work, and then I would work until really late. But let's think about while I was at work, and this might sound weird, but I avoided socializing. I was friendly, but I didn't want to go to work and hang out with my friends. In the evening times, I didn't spend a lot of time going out to bars or hanging out or going out to eat or going to clubs or anything like that. I was focused. I used the time to not be busy, but to be productive. And by productive, I mean, I was working on those things that moved me closer to goals. I was in sales, and so it was really about 3 things: prospecting, presenting, and then following up. Those are the 3 activities that move the needle. Everything else is just noise. Checking your social media, texting your friends, playing games on your phone, making lunch and dinner plans, it's just noise. You're busy, you're not productive. Commute time is a big one, okay? You're busy during your commute, you're moving from one place to another, but it's not productive. So what I did was I knew I had to make my car time productive. So one of the things I did is I would practice my sales presentations in the car. I just pull out my phone, hit record. I'd record myself answering clients, frequently asked questions, whatever their pushbacks were, my answers, and I would record and repeat and listen to it and kind of work on my language so that after a while, all my answers, they seemed like they were totally off the cuff. They weren't memorized or rehearsed. But it was kind of like being an actor where I memorized every line. And I had this old boss, he was kind of a mentor. He said to me, he's like, look, amateurs make up what they're going to say on the spot, and professionals know exactly what they're going to say and how they're going to say it, and it's rehearsed. So I would even record my thoughts for articles I was writing. The other thing I did was I listened to hours and hours of books and educational material, trying to learn everything I could about business. And I never could have founded this agency and made it a success if I hadn't spent that time productively. You got to remember, I've changed careers multiple times. I've been in a bunch of different industries. I've tried all kinds of different things. And in each time, I took, each change, I took the time to make the effort to study and understand so that I could do well. In sales and in life in general, people spend about 8 hours a day, okay? So 40 hours a week. But very few people actually work 8 hours. Most people work far, far less than that. They fool themselves into thinking that spending the time at work is actual work and that it's productive. But you got to ask yourself, is what I'm doing right now my most vital task? If the answer is no, you should refocus, okay? If you have your desk and it's full of lots of little light things, you need to reprioritize. One of my favorite quotes is from Peter Drucker. Efficiency is doing things right, but it's irrelevant until you're doing the right things. That's the most important part of being productive, to spend most of your time working on vital tasks and not just busy work. I'm a strong believer in building a don't-do list. What are the things that I'm not going to do? What am I going to avoid? Like I mentioned earlier, avoiding socializing in the office. That's one of them. You just got to make sure that you're working on what's important and let the little stuff slide. I was famous for not doing expense reports until weeks and weeks late because I was busy, and expense reports weren't that vital. They weren't making a lot of money. And then I would just wait until the accounting department would yell at me, and then I would do them. Okay. Sometimes you're going to let some little balls drop that, they're just going to bounce back anyway. It doesn't matter. And a lot of the stuff that you do, if you didn't do it, no one would notice but you. And if you can just forget about it, it won't matter anyway. I would say probably 50% of our days are like that. How many times you get an email that if you didn't answer it, nobody would care? So I just want to challenge you. Don't answer all your email. It's just not that important. Okay? Focus on what's important first. Do everything you can to put as much on your plate that's just vital work. Okay? That'll change everything. And if you haven't already, check out primalstorytelling.com. I've got a number of resources there to help get you started toward creating content that'll help your business grow, telling your story by focusing on what's most important. So until next time, it's Tony Butler. Be well.